I'm pretty sure we're going live right now. We are live right now. We are live right now. We are live right now. What's up, motherfuckers? What's up, dude? What's up, dude? What's up, dude? What's up, dude? What's up? Who do we got up over here? Oh, Lacey Lane, already up in here chilling. What's good, bro? What's goody, bro? What's up, Lacey? Welcome to Trippy Tuesday, bro. We got some trippy shit. The end of it's gonna get even way crazier, bro. I'm just saying. When we get over to that fucking Epstein shit, when we get to the end of the stream with that Epstein shit, this shit's gonna go viral. Just kidding. I don't know. It's pretty crazy though, actually, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Melissa, what's up? What's up? Getting better every day. I'm so proud and so happy and just so grateful for you, Lacey. I'm telling you, bro, there's something, if I'm being honest, there's just something to this like quantum spirituality that I've talked about, bro, that you can take these spiritual truths that we kind of already know, like deep into our hearts and in our soul, like these truths that are real, bro. And then we just take a little tiny spin and it's just like, okay, they say it's mind over matter and that where your attention goes, energy flows. But then there's like this quantum physics experiment and hypothesis that is called the double slit experiment, that literally the research shows that when we observe particles at an anatomic level, they actually change depending on whether or not we're observing them. So where your attention goes, energy does flow. And where energy flows long enough, matter starts to form. The universe and the reality really actually start to recalibrate basically around where your consistent attention is going, specifically for your human experience. So the fact that we sit here and every single day and that we've meditated together, we've experienced a dimethyltryptamine breathwork experience together, and our particles are entangled. Oh, there's another like quantum physics hypothesis called superposition and entanglement, meaning that once we've ever interacted at any sort of intimate level, our particles become entangled for all of time. That means that whenever my particles are influenced, your particles are also influenced instantaneously, no matter the distance, even if you were all the way across the universe. So the fact that we've done breath work together, we've healed together, we've spoke together, we've broke bread together, we've chilled for many, many hours repeatedly over and over together, that is enough evidence to believe to me that our particles are entangled. So the second that me and the collective all direct our attention and our focus to healing energy to your particles, it's inevitable and it's almost obvious to me with the information I have available to me that you're already on your way to being fully healed, Lacey. And I hope that you can feel the energy coming from me, not just the words that I'm speaking. It's a beautiful thing. Can we get some team humans in the chat? Joey, Brian, what's up? We got 10 people up over here on freaking Facebook already. Let's go, bruh. Let's go, bruh. Katie, Cleo, Lacey Lane, Julie P, Scotty Wheel, Melissa Clark's in the house. Let's go. Let's go. How y'all doing today, bruh? How's it going, dude? How's it going, bruh? What's goody in the motherfucking hoodie? I'm in a trippy mood today. I'm probably just going to be 100% honest with you. I'm just in a mood. I'm just in a motherfucking mood. You know what I mean? I just woke up and I'm fucking out in a mood. Who's in a mood? Anybody else in a mood today? Shit, bye. Shit, bye. All right. Oh, yeah. I got to do this one more time. And do this one more time. 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 And then just hit a little story real fast, real quick. Hit it like this. Go like this. Hit the delete button. Hit it like this. Thank you guys for being here. What's up? What's up? Release and transform. We're just letting everybody trickle on up in here. We're just letting everybody just trickle up in here so we can get this mindful message going, so then we can eventually talk about all the clips that we're going to talk about on X, and then we're going to get over to Jeffrey Epstein. Shit, dude. I almost feel like I'm fucking I got DID sometimes. Even though I don't have DID, I feel like sometimes when I come up here on these streams, I just give you guys like a whole different version of myself. You know what I mean? Sometimes I get up on here and I'm like, it's all love, bro. It's all light, bro. You're a god, bro. Well, I do that every day, and sometimes I'm like, fucking, why is BB at the White House? How come Andrew Colvett is supposed to go to the White House too? How come I just seen some imagery of Nazi Germany and there's like Freemasonic lodges with the Star of David inside the lodge and shit? Did you know Utah's actually just been approved to have a nuclear campus? So not only did we have like the largest fire in America at one point in this summer, we also it was declared here in Utah that we're in a statewide emergency with how much we have a drought. And then it all of a sudden we like decided we're going to build like 5 data centers. And now we're actually going to bring on like a whole nuclear facility inside of Utah. Seems kind of crazy. Ever since Charlie Kirk got Charlie Kirk, my city and my state and just went all to shit. If I'm being honest with you, the vibe inside of Utah has just completely changed. What is your question, Belle? Dude, I'm live right now on YouTube. You never know what you're going to get, but life is like a box of chocolates. Click the link to come to YouTube. Dude, I'm live right now on YouTube. You never know what you're going to get, but life is like a box of chocolates. Click the link to come to YouTube. Dude, I'm live right now on YouTube. You never know. Would anyone recognize the Father? I don't know what that question means. Are you talking about like God? Because if I'm being quite honest with you, and I don't mean this in any sort of disrespect, but it is actually quite ignorant just to believe that if you're talking about God, that it's automatically a masculine image. Because if you know anything about the Hermetic principles and the way that the laws and the things that govern our reality and the matrix and the 3D fractal light matrix we experience, this human experience in the third dimension, is that masculine and feminine are required to create God energy. That's why the feminine has been attacked for all of time. That's why you even believe that fucking God looks like Zeus. Like it's been a whole attack on the divine feminine for a long time, because if they allow the divine feminine and the divine masculine to be created and to be a high frequency of masculinity and a high frequency of femininity all in the same reality, then very quickly the powers that be, the pedophiles, the Rothschilds, the people that are sacrificing kids, the governments, etc., 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 they will all cease to exist, because there will be immense amount of God energy on the planet. That's what I meant. That's how I feel. I feel completely that the idea of whatever the baseline thoughts of God, it just seems kind of, it's irritating to me that this energy, this godlike energy, automatically just takes on the form of Zeus. Like, why is it some white male with a beard that's gray in a robe? Like, it seems kind of gay, actually, if I'm being 100% honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It seems kind of gay. Anyways, how are y'all doing today? We've been live for almost 8 minutes. What's up? What's up? Trippy Tuesday. We got Team Human in the house. Can I just get all the chats, every chat, all the chats, all the time, spam with Team Human? Just so I can get a kind of a head count. We've got 12 people on Facebook. The numbers on YouTube keep going up and down and up and down, so I don't really quite know who's on up in here. I know I got a whole gang of people up in here on Kick. Just so you know, if you wanted to go to Kick, it's trip_over_drip on Kick. It's just the words Tripoverdrip, all one word, on YouTube. But I appreciate your question, Belle, because everyone is allowed to believe whatever they want. And I think we're in a position on the planet because that exact energy of everyone believing what they want is here. We haven't been taught the correct things. We haven't been shown the correct symbols. We haven't been really educated in energy, frequency, and magic. Magic with a K. I mean, not the magic of like, here, pick a card. I'm talking about like the actual magical energy that is available to us once we have not only 2 eyes to look, but 1 eye to see I think there's true magic available to us. Am I just off base? Cobra Kai, what's up? Team Humans in the house. We got Nikita Taylor, Julie P, Lacey Lane, Anna Ray, Katie Cleo, Melissa Clark, Angel Blue, Scotty Wheel, Adam, Christina Bell, what's up? Karen's in the house. We got Jesse, we got Moody, we got Joey Bryn. What's up, dude? We're here today to hang out and talk some shit. First of all, there's nothing better in the whole entire planet besides the love that I get from my wife that compares to cannabis and coffee. So just wanted to put that out there. This is a high IQ stoner outfit. You know, Baron Coleman's like, this is a high IQ outfit. Everybody who's up in here has got to be smart and just on par. But, you know, there is like a magical energy or a frequency of like a high IQ stoner, you know? High IQ stoner, you know what I mean? What's up, Tammy Morgan? I see you. Canada's in the house. What's up, Monica? Are you guys ready for today's mindful message? Because I don't know if you're going to be ready for this one. I don't know if this is the vibe you guys were expecting today, but this is the vibe. Let me just take a little blinker. If it applies, then let it apply. If it doesn't apply, then let it fly. Cheers. Because what if this level of chaos isn't just news? It's a mirror showing you who you are under the pressure, like a spiritual wake-up call to stop living as a passenger in your own life. Now, if that hit something already, you can just comment the words, wake me up. So you can mark the moment that you chose consciousness over autopilot. Because let's be honest, this isn't a soft season. There's tornadoes, there's floods, wildfires, heat waves, earthquakes, tsunami alerts, wars, war crime headlines, party division, protests. The outside world is shaking hard. But underneath all of that, something else is happening. Every shock is actually pressing on your inner world, revealing the truth of your character, your faith, and your consciousness. Chaos doesn't just show you what's wrong out there. It shows you what lives in here. Spiritually, moments like this are not accidents. They're actually seasons where we were allowed to take an X-ray and look inside of it. Pressure strips away the nice story that you tell yourself about yourself and shows you the real data. Who you become when you're scared. How you treat people when you're tired or triggered. What you cling to when every illusion of control starts to get ripped away. Anyone can talk about peace when life is easy. Your true self shows up when life is not. So let this be the in your face for a minute, but with love, okay? When chaos hits, just comment your answers. Do you numb out? Do you explode? Do you disappear? Do you reach for every single distraction instead of any sort of deep presence? You can't blame the storm for your reactions. The storm just reveals them. Like, that's the mirror, bro. That's the wake-up call. And here is the spiritual weight that most people don't want to talk about when we're talking about chaos and learning lessons through the storm. Crisis has always been one of the primary ways that people grow. Because growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. Research and spiritual teaching both say this. Crisis can become an opportunity for profound spiritual growth if you actually engage with it instead of just survive it. Pressure isn't here only to break you, though. It's here to expose like what's too small, what's too brittle, what is too ego-driven, so you can stop pretending that that's just enough and stay on autopilot. Under pressure, though, the illusion eventually will start to crack. The illusion that you're in control of everything. The illusion that your identity is the story inside of your head. The illusion that comfort equals safety. And when those illusions fall, you can either panic or you can just wake the fuck up, homie. Wake up to the fact that your thoughts are not the deepest truths of who you are. Wake up to the fact that your ego's story can't carry you through a dark night of the soul. Wake up to the reality that you need a foundation deeper than your circumstances, something like real presence, source, God, being, awareness, whatever you want to call it. Chaos spirituality is often the breaking of false foundations so you can actually find a real one. And if you're willing to see that, like right now in this present moment with me, or later in a video on some social media platform, you can just comment the words, "I'm looking right in the mirror." So you can stop dodging all the lessons that this chaotic season is trying to bring you. And you commenting that anchors it for yourself, myself, the whole entire collective, and the algorithm to all acknowledge the same thing in this present moment. Because in every crisis, there's actually two layers, bro. The outer layers, like the storms, the headlines, the events, etc., etc., etc. But the inner layer, that's what nobody wants to talk about. The inner layer is what those storms are doing to your heart, your mind, your beliefs, and your awareness. Most people live only in the outer layer, bro. Isn't it obvious? There's not too many people who have chosen the path of healing and spirituality to even get to this point. They talk about the world, like never about the world, never about what the world is revealing to them, but just talk about the world. Spiritual growth, though, it lives inside the inner layer. It's when you start to ask, what is this chaos exposing in me that I didn't want to see? Where is my strength too small when I'm under pressure? What values survive when my comfort dies? Who am I when my ego stops working? Those questions, bro, are never and have never been to shame you. If you answer them honestly, bro, they're here to free you. Because when you finally start to see the cracks, you can stop pretending that the cracks aren't there. Pride falls. Control starts to loosen. You become available for a different kind of strength, one that doesn't come from your own willpower alone. Spiritual teachers from all cultures have been saying this for centuries. Suffering and chaos can become the gateway to awakening if you use them instead of just running from them. You can use them to see how attached you are to the story you tell yourself. You can use them to see how quickly you identify with every thought that crosses your mind. How often you forget that there is a deeper awareness underneath all of this. And then you can start to practice something different. You can let your mind get still for a moment in a world that wants you always running fast. You can let your awareness step back from the movie of your thoughts. You can let yourself feel the being underneath your narrative that you tell yourself repeatedly, that part of you that doesn't disappear when the circumstances change. Because pressure creates diamonds, and pressure is always and has been the test. Do you collapse into the story you tell yourself, or do you remember your deeper self? If you keep failing that test, it's not because you're unlovable. It might just be because your foundation just needs a little bit of extra work. Maybe you need to find a rock that's deeper than your mood. Maybe you go down that spiritual path that rooting yourself in presence, God, and source, they're not just some woo-woo ideas. They are real. Maybe spirituality means you start letting community, prayer, meditation, and honest self-examination strengthen you so you don't have to stand alone under the world's pressure. If under pressure you fail, your strength is not too small. That's not condemnation. That's diagnosis. You weren't designed to carry all of this by yourself, bro. You were meant to draw on something greater than your personal will. You were meant to lean on people who can hold you when you're tired. You were meant to reorder your life around spiritual values instead of constant reaction, so crisis becomes less of a shock and more of a refining fire. So yes, this is me telling you, like, wake the fuck up, bro. But you have to wake up to love, not the fear that they're trying to control you with. Wake up to the love that wants you to stop lying to yourself. Wake up to the love that wants you to grow past the patterns that you know are slowly killing you. Wake up to the love that says, I will use this chaos to deepen myself, not to destroy me. Because this moment is not only about what's breaking, it's about what's being born. A deeper humility, a deeper courage, a deeper dependence on something that might be bigger than you, a deeper awareness that you are not your thoughts, your story, or the fear. So here's the spiritual weight of all of this. Crisis is not just pain. It's actually an invitation. Chaos is not just noise. It's a mirror and a catalyst. Suffering is not just punishment. It's a doorway out of your lower self and into a more awake way of being. You can't ignore that, but you can numb it. Oh boy, can you numb it. You can blame the world and never look at yourself. Or you can say, I'm done pretending that this is just about them, because this is about me, my soul, my consciousness, my character, my foundation. And if something in you knows that this chaos is doing more than just scaring you, that is trying to wake you up, you can comment again one more time, wake me up. Not as performance, but as permission. Permission for the mirror to teach you. Permission for the pressure to grow you. Permission for this moment to be more than just survival, to be the beginning of you becoming someone deeper, clearer, and more awake than you have ever been. I told you it wasn't going to be all flowers and butterflies today. It's time for you to wake up. And I'm glad that we're waking up together. I love you, Team Human. Shit, my dude. Shit, my dude. Damn, bro. I'm telling you what, that was gas today. I hope you like it as much as I did. Because sometimes I be getting in these vibes where I be speaking these words and I just be like, damn, bro, I'm dropping bars today, bro. That if there is someone out there that needed to hear these bars, that these bars potentially could shake someone to their core, bro. And I just want to let all of you guys know, I love you. If nobody's told you today, I'm proud of you. Truly, this live streaming and creating all of the content would actually mean nothing to me if you guys weren't here, because that's the whole reason that all of this even means anything, is because you guys are here with me. If I'm being 100. All right, guys, who do we got in here? We've got some people up on Facebook, Facebook ski, the old Facebook ski. We got Monica Canada up over on Twitch. How many people we got on Kick? I'm not quite sure yet. We do have 5 people up over on YouTube. We are going to get into the next part of the documentary about these Epstein Unveiled, okay? But before we get into the Epstein stuff, if you're new here to the Tripoverdrip stream, Team Human stream, then what you just witnessed was what I like to call the mindful message and opening message, because I don't ever know where the streams are going to end up by the end of the stream. We could end up in some breath work. We could end up in some meditation. We could be all the way deep into like occult magic from the fucking 11th century. We could end up somewhere in like some Rothschild banking system or in Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network. Or we're talking about aliens, or we even talk about health or spirituality, quantum physics, pretty much everything that's interesting to me, which is hopefully what I bring to the table to bring up on the streams. Hopefully that I'm able to appease all of your guys' appetite for knowledge, and I'm able to bring out information and talk about things that maybe you're interested in as well too. So what we do is we do this little mindful message. Allison, what's up? What's up? What's up? Thank you so much, Allison. I appreciate your kind words, bro. So the opening message is just something that hopefully you can take with you when you close out of the app. Something that shakes something in you, inspires something in you, triggers something in you to make positive and love changes for yourself. Because the rabbit holes go deep. So that's why I do the little love yourself thing in the beginning. So even if you close out before the stream is over, you at least have something that can expand your heart field, spiritually give you a hug of acknowledgement that they're, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is coming from the God. Your words are what I needed to hear today. There could be all sorts of different things, because then we're going to get into this clip right here about Vivek Ramaswamy, who actually last election I kind of liked until he decided that he was going to come up in here on Forbes. He was going to come up in here on Forbes and say this.
Consistent at every step. We will not end aid to Israel until Israel tells us they are ready for it.
We will not end aid to Israel until Israel tells us to do it. Fuck you. Oh yeah, real bays right here, huh? Benjamin Netanyahu is currently visiting President Trump at the White House. I don't know what's more disturbing, the way that they're smiling or the model plane that's in front of them. Is that a model plane of the one that crashed into the Twin Towers? Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu's in the house today, boys. We've got, what's up, Scruffmeister? We've got old Benjamin Netanyahu up in the house. Shout out Real Bays. You see my comment? I'm surprised that it's not a golden folder that says Epstein on it. Because last time he was here, he gave him a golden pager. You guys remember that? Oh, yeah, we got to watch this 5-minute clip. I'm just going to let Stu Peters talk. Shout out Alley Files. Shout out Stu Peters. Let's just hear what Stu has to say, because I resonate with this a lot. If you guys are paying attention to the stuff that's happening, specifically with Charlie Kirk, this is for you.
You know, based on the things that I have learned over the past 12 hours, I say this with the utmost sincerity and with the highest levels of seriousness that I can imagine, that we need to pray for Candace Owens. You know, we've talked about the how Charlie Kirk was killed. We've talked about all of the evidence that supports that. We've talked about where the murder was planned. We've talked about a lot of the who might have been involved. We talked about the evidence and the irrefutable data that supports all of those theories. But the why then, the why him, the why at all, is something that I have learned a lot about over the past 12 hours. And I will tell you, we need to pray for Candace Owens, the people that we are dealing with here. The motives that are behind all of this. You know, you reflect back on things that obviously you recognize as a very important detail, but now these things are mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Okay. So you probably won't resonate with the not what maybe what he's talking about being mind blowing if you're the type of person that think that Tyler Robinson took the shot, bro. And I guess this is the point of this live right now, that we just kind of have to draw a line in the sand. And I'm going to ask you, like, do you actually believe that Tyler Robinson took the shot? Do you believe that a 30-06 bullet actually killed Charlie Kirk? Do you believe it was just a lone shooter? And if you do, if that's what you believe, I'm going to go ahead and need you, like, right now in real time to actually tell me, how is it that it seems as if there were a whole bunch of people on campus wearing a maroon shirt, which if it was a military operation, it would make sense that the whole entire platoon would wear the same color. So when the individual that is part of the platoon is walking through this crowd of people, they can easily observe everybody who is part of the mission. How come there was what seems to be plastic pieces or glass pieces in Charlie's car that resemble the glass on a Rode microphone? How come there were people afterwards on the news saying that they saw Charlie get shot right in the heart repeatedly over and over again when clearly the impact wound was in his neck? The whole thing just seems super sus if I'm being 100% honest with you. Can you agree? Can we get aliens in the chat? Aliens in the chizat, manizat, badizat, kadizat, patizat, fashizat. You know what I mean? We do need to pray for, because from what Candace Owens is saying, bro, this week is going to get, everything's going to get lit up on fire, bro. Figuratively, of course. We don't condone violence. Okay, so listen to this. That's the thing though, Stacy. Is she just said, okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna read her comment. I guess I don't exactly care about Charlie Kirk. Just saying. You don't have to. That's okay too. I didn't agree with most of what he ever had to say. See, the thing is though, you should care about what he has to say, even if you don't agree, because the First Amendment, the right to free speech, it's not to protect the things you like to hear, and it's not to protect the things you care about. Free speech protects the words you don't like to hear. It allows us all to willingly say whatever we want to say. Now, if we've got into the position that we're in, it seems to me as if the free speech is under attack more than ever. And there's only really one category that we're not allowed to talk about. We're not allowed to really talk about Israel. They want to censor us when we start talking about the Jews, which you, Andrew, geez, bro. I love my kids, but they stress me out sometimes. You know, my wife gets to go to her Matrix job every day and shit. I've been stuck in a house with 4 boys for days. For like 3 months, every day I'm just in this house with these boys and they just are all Tauruses and just butt heads every day, bro. And I'm just having to like, I know there was no sound. I was talking to my kids. I'm just seeing the comment now, but no. Yeah, I was talking to my boys, Cletus 1, Cletus 2, Cletus 3. But what I was at was basically, you can kind of understand that potentially the reason our free speech is being attacked this time is not because we're saying, oh, the vaccines are fucking genetically modified. Oh, the virus is fake. Oh, the COVID pandemic was a man-made virus out of China, Wuhan. You know what I mean? That was the censorship then. Now the censorship is that we're not allowed to say like, the censorship is like fucking, you can't talk about the fact that Israel is all up in the Epstein files. You can't talk about the fact that Epstein was representing the Rothschilds, which is basically just like some Jewish banking dynasty that keeps it in the family, if you know what I mean. Like, in the family. Anyways, I wanted to get over here to this clip real quick. The Canadian politician Bill Oliver literally reads an AI chatbot prompt aloud in legislation. Crazy. Fighting the fighting, my kids are always fighting. It never ends.
Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like legislative speech rather than a series of short points.
He literally just read that shit, bro. He said, here's a better version. Here's a better version of that has shorter points.
Actually granted to those offices. Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like legislative speech.
Here's a natural, more flowing version that reads like legislative speech. Dude, I'm being honest, bro. We're fucked. If we got politicians going up inside these courtrooms and like reading off of AI chatbots, bro, we're fucked. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, so I've seen this controversial clip and I just wanted to get some information regarding this. Taylor Frankie Paul from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives has been involved in a domestic dispute with her significant other, the father of her child. His name is Dakota. I just saw a clip a few weeks ago that an officer that was dealing with Dakota literally consulted ChatGPT about what he should do next in the traffic stop. Can you please provide me information about that?
I found the information you're asking about. According to a report from TMZ, on June 5th, the Bluffdale police officer named Chad Cady responded to a call from Dakota Mortensen, who is Taylor Frankie Paul's former partner and the father of her child. Dakota suspected Taylor had hired a private investigator to follow him, which might violate a protective order. The officer spoke with the private investigator, who wouldn't reveal who hired him. At that point, body cam footage shows Officer Cady pulling out his phone and asking ChatGPT if a private investigator could violate a protective order. This raised some concerns as a former FBI agent commented that officers have access to official resources in their squad cars and that using ChatGPT could be inappropriate. Protective orders have been...
We're fucked. We're fucked, bro. We're fucked, bro. Everybody's just using ChatGPT for everything. They just outsource all of their information. Now, granted, do I ask Chappy like AI stuff information? Yeah, I do a lot, but never in a position where it's like, never in a situation like that. If I was the politician, I'm coming prepared with stuff to say. Like, for example, why is it that it seems as if like all of these elected officials and these public figures, when they come and speak in front of crowds, why is it that they all read from paper? They all read a script, every fucking last one of them. Not one of them ever gets up and actually says what they actually feel, how they actually see the situation, their interpretation of what the situation actually is. Almost every single public official, politician, they all just get up to these podiums and speak to us, and they all just are just sitting there looking at a paper that someone else wrote for them to say what's necessary to be said. You know? Here's a short little clip. Dang, Real Bays. Real Bays again. Everybody go, you guys should go follow Real Bays. Shout out Real Bays, homie, friend of the show.
Every single person that's connected with TPUSA is put on the stand and cross-examined, from Blake Neff, Dan Flood, Brian Harpole, Terrell Farnsworth, Mikey McCoy, all of them. They should all be put under oath on the stand, and it should be public. Not like when Howard Lutnick gets to testify or give a deposition behind the scenes, off camera, not even under oath. Like, no, fuck that. For the Tyler Robinson trial, we all need to see it. We need to hear it. We need to know that it's real. I can't even under oath. Like, no, fuck that. For the Tyler Robinson trial, we all need to see it. We need to hear it. We need to know that it's real.
I care deeply because I came up along Charlie. And if Charlie's not safe in the political space, neither am I. Certainly not with you guys speaking like this.
We can just go ahead and we can familiarize it with this to make connections to why I resonate with this. I've said this a bunch. How in the fuck did Jeffrey Epstein's pilots not get arrested when they were transporting him all across the world committing crimes? There is no sweetheart deal or accomplice type fucking situation, right? So how is it that No one in Charlie's circle at all was ever even considered a suspect or had any fucking ill will, that none of these motherfuckers even got took in to be questioned. Bruh, I've been to prison, homie. I've dealt with law enforcement and officers and know a whole bunch about that fucking side of the human experience. It makes no sense to me why none of these persons were questioned. No one was interrogated. They're not involved in the investigation whatsoever. Candace Owens has said it so many times, bro. You ever come on, bro. I grew up on fucking what's like all them freaking serial killer shows like on IDTV, bro. Majority of the time it's the spouse, bro. Majority. Or someone very close to the victim. It's never just like some random person, dude. Never. The fact that Brian Harpool and all these individuals have never been brought in, it just seems so fucking weird to me. Especially because I've been involved. But did you know that one of the first things that the Nazis did after seizing power was start shutting down every single Freemason lodge in Germany? They openly believed that the lodges were fronts for Jewish interests and the secret Judeo-Masonic conspiracy. History that they don't teach in school. Now, this is all allegedly. I don't know where this picture came from. I just seen this on the internet from Red Pill USA. But doesn't that just look quite weird to you? Regardless if this is wrong, real, raw, fabricated, it just seems crazy as shit to me that there's like a big Star of Solomon up in there. You know what I'm saying? With the Freemasonic symbol. Seems crazy to me. Just wanted to show that. Oh, here's another one. Don't let them ever tell you the lie that Freemasonry has nothing to do with Zionism. How come there's a Freemasonic skull, a square and compass, and right above it is the seal of Solomon? I mean, or the Star of David, whatever you want to call it. Oh, yeah, let's watch this one. Tell me why this dude just runs up right over there and just grabs the fucking camera. Just tell me why. That dude wasn't brought in for questioning, like, hey, why the fuck did you run up and grab this camera? This is from it says 9 minutes after the shooting. Guy who was arrested, I got up to the yeah. That's Tyler Farnsworth right there. As much as possible. The guy who was arrested, I got up to the yeah. I don't know. Maybe that looks like I don't know if you guys can see it as well as I can see it, but dead ass, bro. This face right here for his face. Let me get the big mouse so you can see right here. That looks like the same dude that was over there on the side of the wall. Like, oh my God, Charlie Kirk's been shot. I think his name's Terrell Farnsworth. I think that's his name. I think that's what it is. But it looks just like him, bro. This guy. You can't really tell, to be honest, but can't really tell. But I got another clip for you before we take a little bathroom break and then get over to this Epstein Unveiled part 3. We've watched the first 2 parts. Today is Wednesday, correct? Today's Tuesday. Okay. This is a crazy one. Okay. I'm going to run it with no sound for a second. Because there's this guy right here. This guy. Okay. I want you to pay attention to what this guy does. Who is this guy? How come he jumps over the table? He doesn't help with Charlie at all. Puts something in his pocket and then runs off. Tell me. I don't know. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, Stacey, I think Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirk because his changed views on Israel, and that if Charlie had views on Israel that he did, there's no way that Trump would have bombed Iran. That's my belief. But let's just watch. Ready? Watch him. Ready? Jump over the table. Let me just mute that. Let's run that back. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Check that out. You see that guy in the beginning right here? This guy over here? If you watch, as soon as he gets shot, he runs around the tent, jumps onto something on the ground, and then just gets up and runs. He picks something up off of the ground simultaneously while this other dude jumps over the table, grabs something, puts it in his pocket. This other guy hands him something, and then he runs away. You see that? Look. You see that? I mean, do we have to play it again, bro? Just pay attention, bro. You can see all of it. You tell me, bro. I don't know. I'm just some fucking dude, some human, bro. Some human that's just trying to figure out all of this shit. And it seems to me as if that shit looked crazy. That shit looked crazy. Like, how come those guys haven't been brought in? It seems to me that they were up to some pretty nefarious shit right there, bro. Okay. I gotta go potty, so I'm gonna put something on real quick. Gotta go potty. I'm gonna put something on real quick. Hey, 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 ha, hoo, ha, hee, ha, hoo, hee, hee, hoo, ha, ha. Let me put something on for y'all. Because it might be just a few moments.
People are trying to change their life without ever changing the state from which their life is being created. They're trying to manifest
Abundance while living in stress, trying to build success while their nervous system is stuck in survival mode. But your nervous system is not just responding to your reality, it's creating it. Now, here's what's fascinating. The ancients understood thousands of years ago that one of the fastest ways to change your state of being was through the breath. Long before neuroscience, long before modern psychology, ancient traditions taught that breath was the life force itself. They called it prana, chi, spirit. It can energize you, it can calm you, it can change your brain state, it can shift your chemistry, and completely alter the way that you experience life. So in this episode, I'm going to show you why breath is so powerful, and I'm going to teach you the 2 breath practices that I personally use almost every single day. One to rapidly energize my body and clear my mind, and one to deeply regulate my nervous system and create a profound state of calm and coherence. So let's get into it. All right, guys, what we're going to talk about today is something that I think is simultaneously ancient and incredibly relevant to the modern world, and it's something that has become a really important part of my own nervous system regulation practice over the last several years, and that is the breath. Not just breathing in the ordinary sense, because obviously we're breathing all day long, whether we think about it or not, but consciously using the breath as a mechanism for changing your state. Because one of the things that we talk about a lot on this show is the relationship between your state of being and the reality that you experience. And we talk a lot about mindset, about beliefs, about emotional patterns, about consciousness, about how your inner world shapes your outer world. And I really believe that. I believe the state that you live in profoundly influences the life that you experience. Because if you live in a chronic state of fear or stress or emotional contraction, that state affects the way that you think, the way that you perceive reality, the decisions that you make, the energy that you bring into relationships, and the opportunities you recognize or fail to recognize. In other words, your nervous system is not just reacting to your life, it's participating in the creation of your experience. At the same time, when your nervous system becomes more regulated, when your body begins feeling safe and coherent and grounded, something shifts.
Your thinking becomes clearer, your emotional reactions soften, you become less reactive to circumstances and more connected to possibility. And from that state, you create a very different reality. Now, again, here we talk about changing your thinking because your thoughts influence your emotional state, and your emotional state influences your nervous system. But there's something important that I think many people struggle with in practical everyday life. Changing your thoughts can be difficult when your nervous system is already dysregulated. Are you with me? Like, it sounds simple in theory. Focus on abundance, choose a better perspective, reframe the story, interrupt the limiting belief. But in the middle of a stressful day, when your body is already overstimulated and your nervous system is already moving quickly, it can be incredibly hard to catch your thoughts in real time. And part of the reason for that is because modern life itself is deeply stress-inducing, right? Most people today are living in environments filled with noise, with speed, with stimulation, continuous attention fragmentation. So the body's constantly processing information, right? Notifications, headlines, social media, caffeine, financial pressure, artificial light. And over time, many people unknowingly condition themselves into a low-grade survival response that simply locks in the nervous system, right? And that becomes normal living. So you wake up anxious, you move through the day overstimulated, you feel mentally foggy or emotionally reactive, and we assume that that's just how life is. But often what's happening is that the nervous system has lost rhythm. The body is no longer knowing how to function efficiently because there's too much activation going on. And this is one of the reasons I think so many people struggle with manifestation work or personal transformation or high performance when they intellectually understand the principles, because you can understand what success conceptually feels like, right? But you don't actually integrate it into the emotional experience of your body. So this is why I think nervous system regulation matters so much, not just emotionally, not just psychologically, but spiritually, creatively, relationally, financially, because the state from which you live becomes the state from which you create. Now, this is where breath becomes really fascinating, because unlike your thoughts, which can move very quickly and sometimes feel difficult to interrupt in the moment, the breath gives you a direct physiological lever into your state. It's physical, it's immediate, and it sits at this very interesting intersection between the conscious and unconscious mind. So most functions in the body happen automatically, right? Your heart beats automatically, digestion happens automatically, hormonal responses happen automatically. But breath is unique because it happens automatically while also remaining consciously controllable, which means breath becomes a doorway into the autonomic nervous system itself. And when you begin consciously regulating your breathing patterns, you begin influencing your emotional state, your stress response, your energy levels, and even the quality of your thinking. Now, what's fascinating is that the ancients understood this thousands of years ago, long before neuroscience, long before people were talking about HRV and vagal tone or biofeedback. Ancient traditions across the world viewed breath as something sacred and deeply connected to consciousness itself. So in yogic traditions, breath was associated with prana, or life force energy, right? In Chinese traditions, it's called qi. In Greek traditions, it's known as pneuma. Different cultures, different language, different places in the world, but a surprisingly similar understanding that breath was not merely biological, it was transformational. And entire systems were developed around breath mastery. Some breathing practices were designed to energize the body and sharpen awareness. Others were designed to calm the nervous system and induce profound states of peace and stillness. And there are stories of monks using breathing techniques to generate heat and freezing temperatures, literally melting the snow around them. There are traditions that believe breath could purify emotional states or expand consciousness and increase connection to the divine. Now, whether you interpret all of those ancient stories literally or symbolically, what's undeniable is that cultures separated by geography and time independently arrived at a very similar conclusion: breath changes consciousness. And what's interesting is that modern science is now beginning to explain why. And I want you to get how important this is. Most of your systems you don't have access to because they function automatically and autonomically. But breath is the thing that sits on the barrier. It's automatic, but you can control it. And it is the key that starts to reharmonize all of your other systems. So we're understanding that breathing patterns now directly influence the autonomic nervous system. We understand that the breath can amplify stress chemistry or signal safety to the body. We're understanding through science that breathing affects heart rate variability, vagal tone, cognitive performance, emotional regulation, and even inflammatory responses in the body. In other words, the breath is constantly shaping your physiological state, whether you're conscious of it or not. And because your physiology influences your perception, your emotions, the way that you think, the way that you behave, your breathing patterns are influencing far more than most people realize. One of the things I find most interesting about this is that many people are unknowingly breathing in ways that reinforce the very states they're trying to escape, right? That's shallow breathing, rapid breathing, tight breathing, chest breathing. Like take a check in with yourself for a quick second. How are you breathing right now? And this is a thing we don't normally pay attention to. And what happens is over time, these patterns subtly communicate stress and urgency to the nervous system. So the body begins adapting to those patterns as though danger is continuously present. And then people wonder why they feel anxious, why they can't relax, why they feel mentally scattered, even when nothing is technically wrong. It's because the body is responding to these breath signals. And the beautiful thing about breath work is that it gives you the ability to consciously begin changing those signals. This is why breath work has become such an important part of my own daily practice, because there are moments where I need energy and clarity. There are moments where I need to become more focused and alert, mentally sharp. And then there are other moments where I need the exact opposite. I need to downregulate. I need to calm my nervous system. I need to shift out of mental acceleration and back into coherence and calm. So over time, I've developed 2 specific breathing practices that I use consistently for those 2 very different purposes. One is a modified version of what many people know through Wim Hof breathing as Tumo style activation breathing. And I've adapted it in a way that feels less aggressive because I really felt like Wim Hof was like overly intense for me. And so this is a more sustainable practice for my nervous system, right? But it still produces a tremendous amount of clarity, energy, and activation. And the second is a heart coherence breathing practice that I use to deeply regulate my nervous system and increase heart rate variability, right? So that's to calm me down. And honestly, when I do it for about 20 minutes, the effect is so profound that it almost feels pharmaceutical. It feels like taking a muscle relaxant, except instead of introducing a chemical into my body, I'm learning how to access my body's own internal pharmacy through breath and nervous system regulation. So before I teach these 2 practices to you, I want to spend just a moment talking about the science behind why these methods are so powerful. Because once you understand what's actually happening physiologically, you start realizing that breath work is far more than some spiritual ritual. It's one of the most direct tools we have for influencing our state of being. And again, since your state of being influences your reality, breath becomes much more than a health practice. It becomes transformational. So one of the things modern science has made very clear is that the way you breathe directly affects your nervous system, your neurochemistry, your brain function, even the way that your body allocates energy, meaning your breathing patterns are not neutral. They're continuously sending information into the body about the kind of state that you're in. And this becomes really, really important because most people are breathing in ways that are sending dangerous signals. So when that happens chronically, the body begins adapting around stress chemistry. So your cortisol patterns shift, your adrenaline increases, your inflammatory pathways become more active. The nervous system becomes more reactive and less resilient. Now, what's fascinating is that this doesn't just affect the body emotionally, it affects the way that you
Oh
think.
my
Because
goodness.
when the nervous system enters a chronic stress response,
You guys, I'm so sorry. The kids are driving me crazy. The kids, bro. My kids. I just have to. Grußfrage. Just real quick. Andrew. Bring me my shoes. Hello, my friends. They should be up there. They're pink. What's up, Haley? What's up, Haley? Haley's in the house. I mean, Cletus, right. You're right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, kind sir. Cheerio, mate. Oh boy. Telling you what. They've been testing me. I've been being tested by the parent gods. They've been testing me. They've been testing me. Oh, so much. I agree, Katie. The whole operation dead ass looked orchestrated. People trained to do exactly what they needed to do amongst the chaos. Dive over the table, dive over here. People run around up over here. Everyone goes up over here. It just seems way too fucking orchestrated. Way too fucking orchestrated. Okay, so before we get in here, you guys, it's almost there. We're almost there. I got 2 more of each design. Tripoverdrip.shop. We got 2 more limited edition tie-dyes. 2 more tie-dye bears. Signed by me and my wife, Queen Trip. There's only 5 of them. 3 have been purchased. There's only 2 more. Now this is in Canada money. I'm using a VPN, so I'm not even in America. So it's not really, the t-shirt does not cost $58. I'm just so you see that. But this is a pink, purple, yellow alien Tripoverdrip logo. We've got 2 more, I think 3 more of those actually. 3 more left out of the 5 that will be total. So just know that if you get one of these signed custom tie-dyes, that nobody else is going to have one. They're only going to be 5 made of each, And then after that, if we do another little custom tie-dye thing, it will be a completely different color scheme, a different pattern. It will be a different design on the shirt. Tripoverdrip.shop. Go get yours today if you want one. That's obviously only if you want one, but we have a whole bunch of other stuff. One of the ones I'm kind of excited for is we finally have a freaking Tripoverdrip Stanley, dude. Tripoverdrip Stanley, 20-ounce Stanley cup, Tripoverdrip. We got a whole gang of shit. But let's get right up in here, bro. Let's get right the fuck up in here. Oh boy, this is going to get deep. Buckle up.
Man, the files just keep getting crazier and crazier, to the point where people can't even believe that the files are real. Part 1 was about the cloning operation. Part 2 was the inner circle. Part 3 goes even deeper. While the media is still trying to pick up the pieces and get people to look in other directions, real researchers are picking apart the files and putting it all together. Now, a vivid picture is beginning to emerge. What you're about to see may shock you, but it is crucial for us as the human race to understand.
No, apple juice. Yeah, so I'll probably, to be honest, I'm thinking about maybe Sunday evening, us doing a live stream with Queen Trip and giving away some merch. That's what I'm thinking. So it'll probably be Friday. Sunday we might do some merch giveaways, and just to have a little week, like a little check-in with me and Queen Trip, just talk about things and just not really have a structure, just really just come and hang out on Sunday and give away a tie-dye shirt. Apple Juice bought one for me to give away, but I think I'm going to give away one of each kind as well. But yeah, so that will be Sunday, Apple Juice.
It would see pictures beginning to emerge. What you're about to see may shock you, but it is crucial for us as the human race to understand. It would seem that the elites are experimenting with tech that they don't want us to know about because, well, they have certain plans for us. It all revolves around what we're going to be talking about today: immortality. I've now spent 2 weeks in 846,000 files, and what came out of it is a pipeline. 5 stages. Map the mind, model the brain, preserve it, build a new body, then transfer.
Okay, real quick while we're here, I just want to pull up Webb real fast. Show you guys we've been fact checking this guy, pulling up the same EFTAs, all the same documents in the Epstein files that he's been pulling up. But I actually wanted to I seen a clip. I just wanted to check and see if it was real. If it was the real. How many times is the name Rothschild said in the Epstein files? I'm just curious, How many times does it say Rothschild? I heard about 12,000 times is what I heard, actually. It would seem kind of interesting if there was 12,000 references to the Rothschild in these Epstein files. Nathan Thomas, what's up? I'm trying to get on. I want to get on one of fucking. I would love to get on a freaking a Bays stream, bro. So if you can fucking hook that up, Scott, that would be sick, bro. A little real Bays and get up there with Danks, dude. Could you imagine just Tripoverdrip up in there with fucking Danks and Bays and Valhalla and freaking Jesse on Fire, all them guys, bro. I want to be up in there with them, chatting it all up, dude. 200 chunks, it says. 200 chunks. Just the Rothschild over and over and over again. Weird.
Is a pipeline. 5 stages. Map the mind, model the brain, preserve it, build a new body, then transfer. What you're about to see may seem like science fiction, but sometimes reality is stranger.
Bro, we already know, bro. We already know, bro. We already know, bro. Shout out Mind Unveiled, but it just showed everybody how fucking dope you actually are by putting that little Rick and Morty clip in there. Just pointing that out.
Build a new body, then transfer. What you're about to see may seem like science fiction, but sometimes reality is stranger than fiction.
Do you see a path for Optimus to have consciousness downloaded to it?
You mean human consciousness, or?
Yes.
It's not like immediate, but if you said down the road, would you be able to, say, with a neural link, have a snapshot of, or at least an approximate snapshot of somebody's mind, and then upload that approximate snapshot to an Optimus body? I think that at some point that technology becomes possible, and it's probably less than 20 years. But of course, you won't quite be the same. Be a little different because you'll be in a robot body, and the mental snapshot will not be precise. It'll be probably pretty close, but not exactly the same. On the other hand, you know, are you the same person that you were 5 years ago? No. I mean, a lot of things have changed. But I guess at some point, if you want to be uploaded to a robot body, my guess is that becomes possible.
What the fuck? If you wanted to be uploaded to a robot body, that will become possible? That sounds insane.
That's Elon Musk talking about uploading a mind into a robot body. 20 years, he says. But the thing is, someone was already funding this research. Every single stage of it. The consciousness mapping, the brain scans, the preservation tech, the bodies, and the scientists doing this were all on Jeffrey Epstein's payroll. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through 53 government-released documents. They lay out a 5-stage pipeline for doing exactly what Musk just described. The researchers had a name for it: cosmic consciousness. He literally had a brain scanner set up in the same Manhattan townhouse where Epstein was trafficking women.
Wait, what?
Name for it: cosmic consciousness. He literally had a brain scanner set up in the same Manhattan townhouse where Epstein was trafficking women. And one of the proposals included a line item for, and I'm quoting, sexy android bodies. Let's get started.
Well, before we get started, doesn't that seem insane? Bro, the layers go deep, bro. The layers go deep. What you're about to watch is going to fucking shock you. If I'm being honest, if you don't know already know this information. It's going to probably prod on a whole bunch of conspiratorial, catastrophic outcomes of where humanity could end up going that you probably have asked questions about, at least inside of your own head. Because as we've went through these first 3 parts, this is the 3rd part. The next part's going to take a few days because it's 3 hours long. Okay. When I say that the trafficking that Jeffrey Epstein was doing was literally just a distraction, and it was only his sexual proclivities that they're honing in on, and everything else is way darker and way deeper than anything you could have possibly imagined, I hope by the end of this stream, it's going to at least force you to start asking questions that you may not know that you need to start asking. Can we just get some Team Humans in the chat so I can get a little bit of a head count before we get into it?
Look at this email. This was sent by Jeffrey Epstein to Barnaby Marsh. It's a proposal, a research agenda, and it contains 2 items that have never been reported together. Item 1, build a mind reader using de-encryption, new understandings of the brain.
Oh,
Item 2, tissue regenerate reader.
I got to grab this EFTA. Sorry about that. We're going to pull it up on our own right here. EFTA 0186 4382. Let's look ourselves at the document ourselves and verify. I know for a fact that it's probably going to pull up the real document, but just for your guys' sake, let's just pull up that EFTA and see if the document matches. Shout out Webb. Shout out Kevin is a human. Shout out Ian Carroll. Yep, there it is. Whoa. Did I get the numbers wrong? I did. It's not 9-2. It's 8-2. Let's go. Load her up. Oh, yeah. Should we build a mind reader? De-encryption from Barnaby Marsh from Jeffrey Epstein. Should we build a mind reader? It would use de-encryption, new understandings of the brain. Can we involve the NY Acade of Sciences, New York Academy of Sciences in one of our projects? I think it would be good for you to use them as well. 3, we should do a project on tissue regeneration, cloning in parentheses. I'm excited to accompany you on this voyeur of Madrin's adventure. We got to pin that. You know what I'm saying? Come back to that later.
A research agenda, and it contains 2 items that have never been reported together. Item 1, build a mind reader using de-encryption, new understandings of the brain. Item 2, tissue regeneration, in parentheses, cloning. Hold up, 'cause this is...
Wait a second. Who's Demo Drew? Demo Drew, I don't know if I've seen you in here before, bro. I love you. Thanks for coming up in here. Team Human for life. Let's go.
Is important. A device that can read a human mind, but that device is connected to a process that can clone a human body, all in one document? In part 1, we already discussed Gino Yu, Hong Kong Polytechnic University. He built a 5-stage model for rating how conscious a person is. Stage 1 through stage 5. Kinda like a video game, he mapped out the human soul on a spreadsheet. But what I didn't tell you in part 1 is how deep this actually goes. EFTA 0258131, Gino Yu writes to Epstein. When you offered me the 100K last year, my only request has been to support the Cuba conference when they asked for 25K. $100,000, that was Gino Yu's retainer, and his job wasn't just research, it was recruitment. Gino Yu brought Peter Fenwick to Epstein. He brought Dean Radin. And he brought Peter Fenwick to Epstein. He
Weird.
brought Dean Radin. And he brought Stuart Hameroff. He connected Epstein to Chinese parapsychology researchers. He found the people studying things that aren't supposed to exist. And then he set up shop. November 2016, Gino Yu writes to Epstein. I picked up a Vive setup that I hope to install at your place. I will also have a custom EEG rig set up as well. A custom EEG rig? That's the device that reads your brainwaves. And he installed it alongside a virtual reality headset, an HTC Vive, in the small room off the library of Epstein's Manhattan townhouse. So follow me. Now Jeffrey Epstein has a room in his house where you put on a VR headset and he monitors your brainwaves. Keep in mind, this is the same house where he was supposedly trafficking women. And apparently he was scoring people. EFTA 026244641. Chino Yu writes to Epstein about a specific woman. In my model, she is a stage 3.5 or so. Then he lays out the full scale. Stage 1, consensus reality. Stage 2, all in one thing. Stage 3, surrendering to the bigger forces at work. Stage 4, intuition and insight. Stage 5, special abilities in a rounded way. Special abilities? That's where the scale ends? Gino Yu was rating real people on it, measuring how close they were to developing abilities that aren't supposed to exist. EFTA 025677715. And then he proposed a program to Epstein called Polystry for rehabilitating 80 stage 3 people who have gifts but cannot support themselves. 80 people in vulnerable, altered psychological states who they claim to have gifts. So is this a recruitment pipeline for the psychologically fragile? And the consciousness research wasn't informal. It had a team, a budget, and a name. EFTA 024602676. Peter Fenwick emails Epstein, and the subject? Cosmic consciousness. That's what they called it.
Let's just look ourselves. I just want to see how often and to who was Epstein talking about cosmic consciousness. I don't even know how to spell it all the way correctly. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, fuck Ben Shapiro. I hate that little fucking midget. And I don't say hate very much. I just don't like that dude. Like, I don't like that dude at all. I think that he's a full-fledged fucking demon that has been tasked with the mission of certain things about our propagandized news, that he is being paid by individuals to say certain things. Just saying. And then it's also weird why the fuck his eyebrows keep growing. You know what I mean? I never met anybody in my life that has eyebrows that grow wide. Obviously the eyebrows grow, the hair grows, you know, but like I never seen anybody have their eyebrows as they grow, they get wider on his forehead. You know what I'm saying, dude? This is the exact email he was talking about right here. Cosmic consciousness. In fact, henceforth, I call this program from Brad Bartholomew and Deepak Chopra, August 6, 2016. The most single repeated instance is in a debate on the Sadhu Sangha consciousness email thread. They're all just chopping it up about this cosmic consciousness, huh? This is the coining moment for the phrase in this corpus. Bartholomew proposed it as a label for the program that codes for consciousness. In his argument with Deepak Chopra, this same email chain appears duplicated across at least 8 EFTA file documents. Epstein role here was that he was on the thread writing as JEE Vacations. He was talking to Deepak about organizing a conference and inviting him to his Santa Fe ranch. He did not use the phrase himself. Brad was addressing Deepak, not Epstein. Interesting. Interesting.
Then Fenwick lays out the team to Epstein. Light study. Professor Fabio Babiloni for EEG and fMRI brain scanning. Dr. Ioannidis for data analysis in Cyprus. Professor Kevin Moore on autonomic nervous system measurements. And Professor Giuseppe Bersani funding the whole thing from his trust. All to be done at Rome Sapienza University. Then Fenwick writes again. Completed grant application. $441,100. Very good study with controls. Being done in excellent unit. High quality. So it would seem this isn't a hobby. It looks like a funded scientific program with an international team studying what happens to the brain at the boundary of life and death. And Fenwick's specialty is near-death experiences. What happens to consciousness when the body dies? That's what...
Has any... me personally... Okay, let me bring you in close for this, guys. Me personally, I... oh, we can do a deep dive into Tupac. Did you know the Tupac files are in web? I'll check them out in just a second. But have any of you guys ever had a near-death experience, an NDE? If you have, please I have seen that, apple juice. But who has had a near-death experience? It's kind of interesting to think about, like people talk about like being disconnected from their body, and a lot of people, for a lot of near-death experiences that I've heard, a lot of them say that they see Jesus. Maybe not all of them, but I've heard a lot of them talk about seeing Jesus or a person that they would identify with a Christ being. Obviously, maybe not Yeshua, but a different Christ being, because obviously Christ is the word Christos. It means a frequent. It's like a magic. It's like an energy. You know what I'm saying? Can anybody agree with that? Christos. You can embody the Christos frequency. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Epstein was paying him to answer. Fenwick was just the beginning. Let me show you who else was on this roster. EFTA 02353378. Dr. Jeffrey Martin, a researcher at Stanford who scientifically maps enlightenment states. He calls it persistent non-symbolic experience, PNSE, a clinical term for what monks spend decades trying to achieve. Martin personally invited Epstein to his transformative technology conference. EFTA 01612793. Dean Radin, Director of Research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, Parapsychology, Telepathy, Precognition. Epstein's Skype logs show an incoming call from Dean Radin, 48 minutes and 32 seconds, April 2nd, 2018. A 48-minute phone call with a parapsychologist. Same day, and I mean the same day, as the holy shit spoon email about spoon bending experiments. EFTA 01771437. A program claiming a 73% success rate at engineering enlightenment states. Whoa, so we're not talking about meditation retreats or spiritual workshops. 73% transition rate. They were manufacturing consciousness states like a production line. But you ready to get even crazier? EFTA 02579443. After years of funding this research, years of paying Gino Yu, flying Fenwick around the world, hosting Radin, scanning brains, Epstein writes this: I've seen no one with special abilities. Not one. Wait, what? Nobody had psychic powers? Nobody could bend spoons? Nobody could read minds? So he was testing this. But wait, he kept paying. So why would you keep funding a program that produces 0 results? Because Gino Yu told him it was working on someone specific. In the same email chain, after Epstein says, not one, Gino Yu responds, one of the ideas we have for research and application is to get people with special abilities that can also train and mentor from all around the world to support those that are coming into their own, like Masha. Masha Jerkova, the subject of Putin's Kiss, the documentary about Russia's youth propaganda movement. She's mentioned a lot in the archive, and it would seem that she was a test subject. Gino Yu said
Wait a second. Like she was a test subject because she potentially had like psychic abilities and shit? Crazy.
she was coming into her own, developing abilities, and the plan was to surround her with mentors who already had them. Nobody had proven abilities, but the program to develop them was still running. EFTA 02657514, February 2017. Gino Yu emails Epstein about Jeff Bezos. Authors gather at Jeff Bezos' super secret campfire event. I hear he gets people with special abilities at these events. Whoa, what? So Bezos had his own program? It's the same language, special abilities. And it's the same format, invite-only events with these hand-picked people. And Gino Yu is reporting this.
Whoa. Sorry. I pulled the bear in, dude.
But the program to develop them was still running. EFT
I'm sorry.
A02657514, February 2017. Gino Yu emails Epstein about Jeff Bezos. Authors gather at Jeff Bezos' super secret campfire event. I hear he gets people with special abilities at these events. Whoa, what? So Bezos had his own program? It's the same language, special abilities. And it's the same format, invite-only events with these hand-picked people. And Gino Yu is reporting this to Epstein like he's a scout, almost like he's his intelligence. Okay, but now let's talk about Chopra. Chopra sent Epstein everything. Oh.
Wait a second. The Psy Games? The Psy Games are this weekend? Can you please tell me what the Psy Games are? PSI.
Sure. The Psy Games are a tournament focused on exploring and celebrating a wide range of psychic abilities. They bring together teams to compete in 5 core categories: remote viewing, mind sight, precognition, psychokinesis, and dowsing. Participants showcase their skills, and expert judges score their performances. The aim is not to prove the impossible, but to encourage curiosity, skill, and personal growth in the area of psychic phenomena.
And this year's Psy Games is actually July 31st to August 2nd.
Yes, that's correct. The Psy Games in 2026 are scheduled for July 31st to August 2nd at the Westin in Charlotte, North Carolina. Please note that schedules can sometimes change, so it's always a good idea to check their official site for the latest updates.
Is this event live streamed or transformed in any sort of content, or is this only like a in-person event?
From what I found, the Psy Games 2026 will have an online component. There's mention of an online schedule running from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time, and there's talk of an online gaming platform associated with the Psy Games. It seems they plan to share content beyond just the in-person event, so you may be able to follow along remotely.
Awesome. Maybe we'll watch the Psy Games. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go to the bathroom again. I drank too much. I'm drinking too much. I'm drinking too much. Too much agua. Too much water. We're gonna blow your mind for a second. It's gonna blow your mind for a second, okay? Can I blow your mind for a second while I go to the bathroom?
Mr. Joe.
I'll be right back. I'm going to the potty, okay? I'm going to the bathroom. Can everybody just put poop emojis just to make sure and just let me know you're all going to still be here when I come back from the potty?
Here asked ChatGPT if it was a human, how would it break out of the simulation? I wanted a little more detailed answer, so I asked it that, and I got this. Very interesting answer, especially that one right there. Let's explore a little bit. At this point, I feel like we're all watching the glitches real time. If you haven't seen one yet, here's a couple. There's freezing planes, radar glitches. I don't have to. UFOs. Let's just cut it there. Its answer flowed really well. The next one is test the limits of physical laws. And that's exactly what we're doing with quantum research. Specifically, what's smaller than the smallest measurement. That's the Planck scale. That's all the energy outside of space and time, and lucky for you, the CIA has researched it for you in the Gateway process. So Gateway deals with consciousness and perception, the third point on the AI list. To get a glimpse beyond the rendered reality, it would meditate, try out-of-body experiences, lucid dream, literally everything in the paper. This isn't even a new concept. This is called esoterics. All it is advanced spiritual work, Tibetan light body, Vedic cosmology accessed by the yogis, Egyptian soul travel, Mayan underworld exploration, all of it. If you watch these videos, you'll also know there's a modern approach to this. This one is the one that I'm really concerned about, though. It says ancient texts and symbols in religious or esoteric traditions, sacred geometry, spiritual practices, might hold clues about the nature of reality and how to detect it. It's now telling me to investigate ancient knowledge. It says ancient texts and symbols like sacred geometry may hold clues about the nature of reality, alluding to the Hindu concept of Maya or illusion and Plato's allegory of the cave. So I said, expand on the sacred geometry part for me. It tells me to use it as a blueprint or an algorithmic framework, citing the flower of life, the Fibonacci sequence, the platonic solids, and the golden ratio. It says these symbols could be clues or keys for how the simulation operates. We observe the golden ratio at all scales. That makes sense. The magnetic field keeping everything alive here is a golden ratio. When it refers to the key, I think it's talking about the harmonic ratio of magnetic fields. Magnetic field and harmonics in music are exactly the same. If everything speaks harmonics, then we need to know the language. Sound would be the easiest way to study this because we can make sounds. Through something like water, we can observe the patterns that sound makes. The Rosetta Stone for this is the flower of life, which is ironically the second point. The flower of life is one of, if not the oldest symbols in existence. Every culture, every single one has used it. The cool thing is it doesn't matter what size or measurement the circle is, but the ratio of those circles is how we divide up the keys in music. When you draw lines in between those circles, you get the translation into form or geometry. Connecting all the lines between those circles creates a very special shape. Inside of it, you can make every platonic solid. Another key that AI was saying to look into. These are the only 5 shapes in existence that are the perfect divisions of a sphere, perfectly symmetrical. What's even weirder is they nest inside of each other so that the corners of one shape support the faces on the one that it goes inside of. Third point, access hidden knowledge. Specifically, the Emerald Tablets and the Kabbalistic Tree of Life stood out to me. That one was interesting to me because the shape that the Flower of Life makes, that 3D version, if you make it 2D, the Sephiro or Tree of Life is inside of it. And if you take 6 of those and rotate them around radially, they create the shape again. So it showed me the language, and now I have a few keys to use. The next step is manipulate reality using geometry. Doing this could manipulate the framework like a hacker would modify the source code of a program. According to AI, I need to build a pyramid to escape the simulation. I can't make this up. It's told me to find glitches, use ancient knowledge, and learn geometry. To interact with the source code like a hacker, pyramids and mandalas in specific proportions may resonate with the underlying code. Strange coincidence, we have a ton of those to study. The biggest mandala in the world, actually, is Borobudur. Its architecture is a harmonic pattern. To figure this out, someone has to know that sound makes shapes. If you're on a bowstring across a metal plate with sand, you can see these patterns. There's a math equation that lets you calculate those. If we make a 3D model of that in Blender or Houdini, we can simulate what any frequency looks like. Borobudur's architecture mirrors a frequency. This is not uncommon at all in the ancient world. Chichen Itza follows a similar frequency. How would we do that on something like a pyramid, though? Rick Draco can show you. It makes 3D models of vibration. Each layer is a pattern within the frequency. A very complex frequency assembled layer by layer may look something like Ramadan Temple. Hindu and Buddhist culture often use mandalas to represent chants, mantras, or frequencies.
The fact that many ancient places share similar patterns to these mandalas may indicate that there is a resonance relationship there. No other place resonates with the source code better than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its geometry encodes the circumference of the Earth, the length of the year, the relationship between the Earth and the Moon, at least 4 universal constants, and the speed of light, and the angle needed to view a rainbow. Corner angle is the same angle a raindrop refracts light. If you use a perfect glass sphere to illustrate this, the Great Pyramid exactly fits the refraction dimensions. If we make the height of the pyramid 1 unit of any dimension, it sets up a harmonious relationship with a perfect sphere, which is wild because harmony, sound, and frequency is the next point AI made, citing 432 and 528 hertz as measurements to look out for. The Great Pyramid is a reflection of Earth at that scale. The last 2 points are meditate to connect to the network. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's probably the Schumann network I talked about in that video. The alignments of these places may be access points to deeper layers. Rituals here may provide access points different from everyday locations. I'm sure we all know that the Great Pyramids are aligned to Orion, but the air shafts are also aligned to very significant celestial influences in the ancient world. So it appears like the temples are using the Earth as some sort of network, probably performing various functions. Using consciousness, we connect to this network, and then we use the ancient guidebook that was left for us to navigate harmoniously into that. At this point, I feel like AI just plagiarized my book. The core concept is everything is energy in a form of geometry. Water on a speaker can illustrate this. Harmonic tones create symmetrical patterns in the same way the molecules of the water and the particles that make up those molecules do. DNA creates the living things that can interact with the simulation. As a fractal antenna, it reads the vibrations of the simulation so that you, your character, can interact and survive in it. It's creating a multiplayer online thing like World of Warcraft, where your consciousness controls the player. Your body would be like the haptic feedback suit in Ready Player One. Suit is your nervous system with the plexus or chakras, whatever you believe, giving you feedback in the form of emotions and feelings. Instead of the goggles, your brain is processing all the geometries. This is according to the ancient info I was told to investigate. I found this in almost every tradition, and in every single one they put their best characters inside of this shape, which is a part of the code of the simulation. This square root of 2 is the binary sequence, it's cell division. Square root of 3 is the division of the cube, that's how we have the 3D world. The square root of 5 is the golden ratio, which gives harmony and proportion to everything in the world. So the player just reads the polarities. It's just like hot, cold, light, dark, soft, hard, all that stuff. You're just processing the polarities, which is interesting because the quantum part talks about the observer effect, saying it plays a direct role in shaping reality. 200 years ago, we figured out that's what snaps the waves into particles. So essentially, you're rendering reality like the game renders the environment, you and all the other players. So you and everybody else in the universe use that and entanglement to create a networked system exactly like how your brain and galaxies work. So why are we here or playing the game in the first place? Well, why do we play games? We'd like to see what it feels like to be a character that we're not. We'd like to have adventures and interact with other players. Knowing the rules allows us to have the best experience in the game. It's actually from my book, which is what I've been trying to document. These graphics are from Geometrix.
Geometrix.
We're not trying to escape. We're trying to get as many perspectives on how this works to have the best possible experience here and
Geometrix is his book's name. Geometrix. What a brilliant dude. Like dead ass, bro. Homie is brilliant. I would love to have a conversation with Base Forge, bro. Fuck. He's brilliant. Brilliant. If you guys, if that little commercial break while I ran to the bathroom just blew your mind, you could just type the words "mind blown," because every time I watch his stuff, bro, I learn shit that I never even fucking could imagine would be the truth. But he shows it and displays it and tells them and portrays the message in such a way that it just makes it so easily digestible and undeniable that what he's talking about isn't just words. It literally like resonates deep into my soul, bro. I can feel what he's saying, you know what I mean?
Aura measurement apps, intelligence. Okay, but now let's talk about Chopra. Chopra sent Epstein everything. aura measurement apps, biofield science papers, virtual reality meditation experiences. EFTA 01784162, August 2016. Chopra sends Epstein a Guardian article about meditation in virtual reality. Quote, "It's like French philosophy meets the Matrix." So it would seem that Chopra was feeding Epstein the technology side of consciousness. And in return, Epstein gave Chopra access, dinners, island visits, conferences. And then there's this. Epstein asked Deepak Chopra, a consciousness researcher, whether anesthetics can affect consciousness and the mechanism. Chopra responds with the pharmacology, then asks, "Why do you ask?" Why was Jeffrey Epstein asking a consciousness researcher about lethal anesthesia? I don't have the answer, but I have this document. Chopra and Epstein were building a research pipeline. EFT.
Oh, that's an EFTA I gotta get and make a video on, bro. EFTA 02393017. Look at this. It says, "Good to hear from you and your interest in telepathy in autistic children. In my recent review of our Savant registry, now over 300 cases, about 1% of parents or other reporters indicated ESP or telepathy abilities in the same sample. Even in my most recent acquired Savant sample, one such case reported paranormal abilities newly present. I have been working with a girl with severe autism impairment since 2013 who shows clear to me a telepathy connection to her ABA therapist. I am familiar with 2 other such cases in our country." He says, he's talking about Hiroku Marimoto, which is a rockstar didgeridoo player in Japan who has now acquired savant art abilities. That's fucking crazy. Hell yeah, I'm getting botted. I got botted on Kick, bro. Can we just write "I love bots," bro? Because they all of a sudden they're just like, "Here, go to this website. You want to get good streams? Here, use your own bots to boost your views." What the fuck, dude? Well, let's look at the CFTA. Bop 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 boo dibby dibby bop bop dibby de boo bibi de dabba de baba dibby de bow. Just love the bots. I remember one time, dude, we had freaking Ian Carroll up on the TV while he was live streaming, dude. And I had never seen like a full-fledged bot attack. Like everybody, like there was just thousands of accounts saying, "You better stop talking about this or we're going to take you out," or something like that. And it was just tons and tons and tons of accounts just all saying the same thing, bro. There it is about your autistic children. Aren't we all just a little bit autistic nowadays? Maybe I'm just saying that to comfort myself. I don't know. But I want to pin that sucker right there so I can check it out later. Look at these dockies. I got a whole bunch of documents over the last few weeks. These ones specifically, I've made videos about all of them. So go check them out on my social media platforms. Oh yeah, I guarantee the bot farms are going to be out attacking Candace today. Guaranteed, bro.
EA 023933017. Chopra forwards Epstein a thread about savant syndrome and non-local mind from Daryl Treffer, the world's top savant researcher. 300 documented cases, and in this chain, Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, a researcher who studies telepathy in autistic children, and Paul Mills from UCSD, who attended a Salk Institute conference on extraordinary variations of the human mind. Epstein's response, "I'll fund the assistant. No help needed." So he funded a telepathy study on children with autism through Chopper's network. Yoshabak.
That's fucking insane. He funded a telepathy program. Jeffrey Epstein. Why is he looking for people with special abilities? You tell me.
The AI researcher. He's almost in the file more than anyone else. If Gino Yu was the recruiter, Bach was the theorist. He's the man Epstein turned to when he wanted to understand what consciousness actually is, in mathematical terms. Bach developed a concept he called mobjects, mathematical objects that describe consciousness as computation. He proposed that the brain is a machine, and consciousness is the software running on it. So, the implication is, if consciousness is software, it can be copied. Over $1 million confirmed, $300,000 for a visa arrangement, $382,000 through the enhanced entity in 2016, $125,000 in 2018. Flights, housing, MIT salary supplements. Again, this wasn't a hobby. Epstein was Bach's primary patron. And let's not forget the whole secret society email with Bach's group. We talked about this in part 2, but now you have the context. Psychedelic retreats for select individuals? You may have thought it was the billionaires who wanted to take the psychedelics, but no, we're talking about physiological experiments, a private intelligence agency, a cryptographically secure social network, and then direct quote from Michelle Riley, high-profile island you-know-what also independently come to mind, but I have a strong suspicion that you may already have that covered. Do you get it now? They knew. The inner circle was joking about it. Okay, but a theory isn't enough. You need a map of the actual hardware. EFTA 02375911. A meeting. Ed Boyden, MIT neuroscientist, inventor of expansion microscopy, the man building an atlas of brain computations. Next to him, Whitfield Diffie, the godfather of public key cryptography, and Martin Novak, evolutionary mathematician. Okay, so a brain mapper, a code breaker, and an evolution theorist in the same room at Epstein's request. Why would you need a cryptographer at a brain mapping meeting unless you're trying to decode something? Boyden, quote, a single neuron can flip the state of the whole brain, end quote. So one cell, one switch, and consciousness shifts entirely. EFTA 02357394. Boyden again. This time with Sebastian Sung and Neil Gershenfeld. So they're invited to Epstein's island, and the subject of the meeting? Deception. The world's top brain mappers on a private island discussing deception. Sebastian Sung wrote a book called Connect to Me. The thesis? You are your connect to me. Your identity, your memories, your personality, your consciousness is encoded in the wiring pattern of your neurons. Map every connection, and you've mapped the person. EFTA 01880316. And here's where it gets a little uncomfortable. The person who recommended Connect to Me to Epstein, Jean-Luc Brunel. The trafficking associate, the man later found dead in his Paris jail cell, he's the one who told Epstein to read the book about mapping human consciousness through neural wiring. A trafficker recommending a neuroscience book to a PDF. I'll let you sit with that. And this wasn't happening in a vacuum. Silicon Valley was in the room. EFTA 01789503. Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn founder, emails Epstein and Mark Zuckerberg together. Quote, Jeffrey, Zuck, email connections from the Ed Boyden dinner so that the combo can continue. Wait, so let me get this straight. Reid Hoffman introduced Mark Zuckerberg to Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason? A dinner about neuroscience hosted by Ed Boyden, the brain mapper. This wasn't just a billionaire party. This was a working meeting about the brain. And Hoffman wanted Zuckerberg and Epstein to keep talking about it. Take note about that for later. Same, Reid Hoffman. Same year. EFTA 017888970. The subject line, Skype about deception. So what's up with this deception stuff? Recipients, Hoffman, Joy Ito, Kevin Slavin, and Epstein. Hoffman responds, generally around this week and next, interested. Reid Hoffman, Joy Ito from MIT Media Lab, and Jeffrey Epstein organizing a group call to discuss deception. That's a pattern. And then someone in Epstein's circle, text, very intrigued by Neuralink. Did like Chopra at the beginning, but have grown disappointed with him. AI fascinates me. So, Neuralink, Chopra, and AI, all in one message. The brain-computer interface, the consciousness researcher, and the machine intelligence. It all connects to Epstein. Stage 3 of the pipeline. Once you understand consciousness and you've modeled the brain, you need to preserve it, because eventually the body dies. Listen closely. There's a company called Nectome. Their technology is chemical brain preservation. They pump a solution through your brain that fixes every neural connection in place, permanently. The idea is that someday, someone could scan that preserved brain and extract the connectomy, the wiring diagram of who you were. And Jeffrey Epstein was tracking them. EFTA 02506384, March 2018. Epstein reaches out to Yosha Bach about brain preservation options. He wants to know what's the state of the art, what works and what doesn't. EFTA 02470197. Bach meets Nectome's CEO, Robert McIntyre, and in person, and reports this back to Epstein. He sent Bach as a scout. Meet the CEO, evaluate the technology, report back. EFTA 02508072, and in the discussion about Nectome, someone writes, Sam Altman has signed up as far as I know. As always, chances that the current plan for restoring memory from connectomy works one day are quite close to nothing but absolute zero. Structure might be better preserved than in traditional cryo, but tissue gone. So, Sam Altman, the man who would go on to run OpenAI, signed up for brain preservation through Nectome? And this is being discussed in Epstein's documents alongside connectomy analysis in cryonics comparisons? But Nectome wasn't the only option. There was also Alcor. EFTA 02454349. Marvin Minsky, the father of artificial intelligence, MIT legend, had a cryonics contract with Alcor. His brain was to be preserved after death. And the man running Alcor? Max Moore. Here's a quote from the archive. Max Moore, CEO of Alcor, the leading cryonics firm, and before that, arguably the founding philosopher of transhumanism. Now, this detail has been reported before, but I want you to hear it in this context. The New York Times citing a source in the archive. Mr. Epstein told this person that he wanted his head and private parts to be frozen. His head, where the brain is, and his reproductive organs. The two things you need to preserve if your goal was to rebuild yourself. And in his personal notes, Epstein saves a reference to Frank Tipler's The Physics of Immortality, a book that argues physics allows for digital resurrection, that the laws of the universe permit bringing consciousness back from the dead. This obviously wasn't just casual reading. Alright, so map the mind, model the brain, preserve it after death. That's 3 stages. But a preserved brain in a jar doesn't do anything. You need somewhere to put it. Now let me show you what the body was for. If you saw part 1, you know George Church, Harvard geneticist, gene editing, CRISPR. But there's a detail from part 1 that becomes much darker now. EFTA 02546529, November 18th, 2011. George Church is corresponding about a cloning-related event. He's cautious. He knows the risk. And Epstein was getting cloning updates from Richard Merkin, CEO of Heritage Provider Network. And these were regular updates on cloning progress. In part 1, this looked like eugenics, like you wanted to breed a certain kind of human. Now,
Sorry. I gotta get this one. Any updates on cloning? Someone's messaging Jeffrey Epstein asking him for updates on cloning. 01925437. That's kind of insane, right? Like, can we... I got a beard hair somewhere over here. Can we just acknowledge how crazy that sounds? Shout out Web for the ability to look at the documents myself. Theweb.io. You can look today for, I think, first month is like $5 for you to have Web, the thing I'm using right now to look at all these files. It's theweb.io or app.theweb.io. This is not a paid advertisement. I just do it because I actually use the program, bro. Here's that PDF right there. Oh my God, where are you? Any cloning updates? Well, what the hell is he cloning, bro? What is he cloning right there? We got to pin that one. App.theweb, 2b's.io. You can look at them yourself. You can search up anything you want. And they got I could show you right here, bro. They got way more than just the Epstein files, bro. Tyler Robinson's court transcripts. They've got the chemical industry archive. They've got pharmaceutical litigation. They've got Jeffrey Epstein, the COVID-19 biolab release from Tulsi Gabbard. They've got a bunch of spiritual texts where you can look in like all of the Christian texts, the Islamic texts, Hindu text. They've got a whole bunch of like 4.6 thousand pages of cold case file information. They got 1.4 million pages of the FBI vault. If we were to go and just look at the FBI vault, actually, if I come back over here, if I could just show you, I think there was an individual, I'm pretty sure I want to say it was who was asking me to go into Tupac. Someone was asking me to go into Tupac. I can go like this, come down over here like that, come down over here and just type in Tupac. It'll pull up a whole ass file about Tupac. The Tupac files, let's see here, 102 documents inside all of the FBI vault about Tupac. We'll get into that on a later day. But you know what I'm saying? If you wanted to look yourself, remember, fuck it. I'm going to drop the fucking link in the chat for everybody if you wanted to use it. All right? The app.theweb.io. I didn't mean to do all that. Didn't mean to do all that. Didn't mean to do all that. All that. Didn't mean to do all that. Like that. App.theweb.io. Check them out, bro. Like I said, it's not a paid advertisement. I'm not going to get anything if you go look at this yourself. I'm just sharing the info, bro. Sharing the info. Alrighty. Let's get back over to the Epstein video.
It looks like step 4 of the pipeline. Build a compatible vessel. In part 2, we talked about David Hansen, the creator of Sophia, the world's most famous humanoid robot. Sophia. What I told you in part 2 is that Hansen is a member of the OTO, Aleister Crowley's occult order. A man building human-looking robots while belonging to a sex magic society. EFTA 02229729, Hansen Robotics. Direct Skype calls with Jeffrey Epstein. Multiple conversations. About what? Building humanoid bodies. But it doesn't stop there. EFTA 02725875, the proposal, we talked about this, Genie Lab. $3 million. And the pitch includes, and I need you to hear this, sexy android bodies. Sexy android bodies with mind uploading in a $3 million proposal connected to Epstein's network. A lab that would build attractive humanoid bodies and upload minds into them. And the scientists that would make it work were already in the network. Randall Conant. In the archive, he says, the leading serious scientific exponent of mind uploading. He runs Carbon Copies, the foundation for substrate-independent minds. The idea that a mind doesn't need a biological brain, it can run on anything. In the same document, Luke Nosek, PayPal Mafia, Peter Thiel's co-founder at Founders Fund, and Dmitry Itskov's 2045 initiative, premised on launching the singularity from Russia by 2045. These aren't just fringe characters, these are billionaires and venture capitalists funding the technological architecture for moving a mind from one body to another. But what's even crazier is, maybe you don't need a robot. Maybe you build a better biological body. EFTA 02003049. Epstein writes, evolution, luck, chance. Evolution's not growth. One needs mutation, change to function. Directed evolution. Directed evolution, not natural selection, not random chance, guided. Frances Arnold, Caltech, she won the Nobel Prize in 2018 for the directed evolution of enzymes. She offered to teach Epstein about breeding molecules in microbes. Epstein was interested, but not in microbes. EFTA 01785366. And then there's this line. Virtual womb for all those preemies we are breeding. Preemies we are breeding.
Whoa.
Virtual wombs.
Whoa.
He's preemie.
It says, genius night, and got me thinking about getting going again on inventing parenting, a virtual womb for all those preemies we are breeding with zero auditory language, music, and enrichment. Neonatal ICUs, getting ready to drive back. That's insane to think about, right? What the fuck? Let's just get this EFTA. EFTA 01785366. I do remember that in the 90s. How crazy, huh? This is fucking insane, bro. Why would someone be saying that to him? You know what I'm saying? Like dead ass. Why does someone say the preemies were breeding? That seems kind of sus to me, bro. Did I write the number down wrong? I did. That is a 3. That is a 3, not a 2. That is a 3, not a 2. 3, not a 2. Jeez Louise, Mama Cheese. It's kind of crazy, right? Oh, look at that. There it is. There's a document right there. Boom, right here. It's right here. The preemies. Preemies, we are breeding. What the fuck? Virtual womb for all those preemies we are breeding.
We are breeding. Virtual wombs. He's telling you. This is the body side of the pipeline. Breed better humans, grow them in artificial wombs, direct the evolution, build the vessel. Part 1 was about genetics, but now you see why. The genetics weren't a separate project. They were stage 4. This is where it all connects, and this is the part that nobody has reported. EFTA 0264-2274. How do savants know things they never learned? My explanation is genetic memory, the genetic transmission of knowledge. Genetic memory, the idea that knowledge, consciousness itself, can be passed through DNA, not taught or learned, inherited. If that's true, then consciousness isn't just software running on the brain. It's encoded in the genes. And if it's in the genes, you can breed for it, edit for it, select for it. Part 1 was genetics. This is consciousness. And Epstein believed they were the same thing. Chopra's response to this email makes it even darker. In the same thread, same EFTA, Chopra pushes back with a detail that changes everything. He tells Epstein about an acquired savant with an entirely different skill post-injury. Acquired savants. People who suffer brain injuries, car accidents, strokes, trauma, and wake up with abilities they never had before. Perfect musical pitch, calendar calculation, photographic memory, skills that appear from nowhere after the brain is damaged. If trauma can unlock abilities that were always encoded in the brain, abilities you never learned, abilities that might come from genetic memory, then Epstein's experiments on women take on a different dimension. Was he testing whether psychological trauma could trigger altered states of consciousness? Whether breaking someone's normal awareness could unlock something underneath?
Holy shit, I just had an epiphany, bro. What if Project Monarch and MK Ultra just moved out of the government sector and became more of a private thing? Like it was brought out into the private sector where just like a citizen was doing these experiments for them versus the government overseeing the experiments. They might be funding those experiments, but they don't oversee them, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's just a crazy conspiracy I just made up right on the spot. I have no idea if that's true. If that is true, I just want you to know that I would never hurt myself. I love my life, my wife, and my kids. I don't ever really leave my house, so I don't have anything where, I have to really worry about a lot. But I just feel compelled that it just to tell you right now, bro, that to be in a position on planet Earth where people have to say those things to feel a peace of mind after talking about controversial topics, just know that I live stream Monday through Friday every single day throughout the week, and I'm going to probably continuously do that for a very, very long time. Monday through Friday, never miss a day. I haven't missed a day for a long time. I don't think I've ever actually even missed a day since I started streaming, actually. But yeah.
I mean, he was measuring belief thresholds with 200 women. He was funding research on savant telepathy in children with neurological differences. And now Chopra is telling him that brain damage creates savants? What if the trauma wasn't a side effect of the research, but actually a variable? Deepak Chopra was pushing the same idea, but from the other direction. Chopra's book, Super Genes, argues that the evolution of species is the evolution of consciousness. That genes don't just build bodies, they build awareness. EFTA 02045681. Epstein and Chopra visiting the Alchemist Kitchen together, an apothecary in Manhattan. Plant medicine, consciousness expansion, alchemy. They were practicing this kind of stuff. And then there's this conference, EFTA 02397964. A session titled Gene Editing in Consciousness. Whoa. A conference on gene editing in consciousness connected to Epstein's network. That's the bridge. The genetics program from part 1 and the consciousness program from part 3 meet in one room. And the thesis is, edit the genes, edit the mind. But let's talk about this Dmitry Itskov. Russian tech billionaire, founder of the 2045 initiative, and his public mission is to achieve human immortality through mind uploading by the year 2045. EFTA 02078308, May 2015. Itskov and Gino Yu, Epstein's consciousness recruiter.
Whoa, wait a second. Did you just see that? That shit literally says Valery Spirganov set to be the first for world's first full head transplant. That's crazy. Anybody else find that weird? Just me? I don't know. The first full head transplant?
2015. Itskov and Gino Yu, Epstein's consciousness recruiter, are arranging to meet in New York. They already know each other, both in Epstein's orbit, the mind-uploading billionaire and the consciousness stage mapper connecting through Epstein. The same month, Epstein writes to Itskov, I spent the weekend with Chomsky at my house. Great, strong views, but clever. Noam Chomsky, the most cited intellectual of the 20th century, and in the same thread, Itskov mentions meeting a Buddhist monk who works for MIT and is interested in AI. We discussed possible AI's self-awareness. Then, Epstein sends Itskov a link to Rupert Sheldrake's online telepathy test. So Jeffrey Epstein sends the mind-uploading billionaire a telepathy experiment. Sheldrake's morphic resonance, the idea that consciousness extends beyond the brain, that minds can connect at a distance. This is another bridge. Mind uploading meets telepathy meets AI self-awareness meets genetic memory in one email chain. In part 2, I showed you the occult library. Now you might have thought that that was separate from the science, but it's not. Epstein didn't see a difference. To him, Newton was an alchemist and a physicist. Consciousness was a genetic trait.
Seems kind of crazy, huh? This Philosopher's Stone reference again.
And a mystical state. The soul was dark matter and something you could upload. Okay, but everything that I've shown you so far, the brain mappers, the AI theorists, the VR rigs, the cryonics evaluations, all of it sounds like cutting edge research, and you maybe could argue that it's noble. But now let me show you who the test subjects were. EFTA 02402848. David Savage asked Epstein, you did an experiment with 200 girls where you held their hands and rating them? And Epstein responds, I did this with 200 girls. Each one had to rate the accuracy of diagnosis on a scale of 1 to 10. The written diagnosis was exactly the same for each. What? 200 girls given the same fake reading, and he's measuring how many of them believed it. EFTA 02453747. Then Epstein designs another round for Savage. 10 women, you will need to touch each one. And his takeaway from all of this? Believing is more fun. But he's not debunking anything. He was measuring who could be made to believe and how fast. 200 women, the same fake reading, and scoring their conviction. But why touch? Well, because a neuroscientist told him that it works. EFTA 021923005. Peter Fenwick, the same man running the Cosmic Consciousness program, tells Epstein that touch activates their hormonal system and that dominance hierarchy matters. So the science wasn't separate from the exploitation. Okay, but the women knew. Listen to what they wrote. EFTA 027-21399. A woman writes to Epstein, "You described me as a failed experiment. I didn't know that I was a part of one. Am I an unsuspecting Galatea or a pawn in your dealings with Leon? Am I an unsuspecting Galatea? Galatea from Greek mythology. Pygmalion sculpts the perfect woman and brings her to life. So this woman is asking Epstein, am I one of your unsuspecting creations that you sculpted and brought to life?" EFTA 018-62162. Another email about a different woman. Quote, "For me, it's a great experiment. Taking a girl who hadn't been with a guy until she was 23 and then getting her to this point. She is sufficiently confused, and I think you can get some mileage out of this." What? She is sufficiently confused, you can get some mileage. A great experiment. Now, with this context, he's using the same word for the woman that he used for the consciousness research. Experiment. We have to consider whether they were a part of the same program. These spiritual practices and ideas weren't separate from the exploitation. They were the same delivery mechanism. EFTA 017436115. A message about Kundalini yoga class. Meet me at class 9:30. So many hot girls promise. Abundant. At a Kundalini class. And then there are the meeting notes. EFTA 020-45779. Action items from Epstein's meeting. Design fun experiments, e.g. mice on DMT and environmental medicine meme. Mice on DMT? That was the brainstorming idea at Epstein's meeting? Design a fun experiment, psychedelics on animals, and create a meme around environmental medicine. So that's the brand for their research? EFTA 022714445, January 2019, 6 months before his arrest. Gino Yu writes to Epstein, "I will also have a shaman with me, as well as a psychonaut that grows his own mushrooms." A shaman and a mushroom grower traveling with the consciousness recruiter coordinated in the same email chain as Yushabat. EFTA 02676253. We talked about this in part 2. Sacred Space, New York. An invoice to Epstein. 50 digital urban detox solution massage rituals. Digital? At $200 each? Total $10,000. Pre-purchase in bulk through JP Morgan Chase. Massage rituals, digital urban detox. It's basically consciousness language wrapped around a $10,000 massage invoice. EFTA 020-45162, August 2016. Bebe Avdio, an assistant working out of Darren Indike's law office, confirms to Epstein 4 girls in total, and they are all 17. 2016, post-conviction.
That's insane, huh?
After the plea deal. After the sex offender registration. 4 girls, all 17, confirmed from the lawyer's office. But the reason I bring this up is because the consciousness experiments, the brain mapping, the VR rigs, the meditation apps, the enlightenment programs, all of this was running at the same time as this. EFTA 000-37181. A girl tried to swim off the island. The bodyguard confirmed it. She tried to swim. In his assessment, her attempt showed no greater level of distress than he'd seen in other girls throughout the years. So he's seen this before. Other girls trying to escape the island. And the bodyguard himself told investigators he was frightened by Epstein. Apparently, all the workers signed million-dollar NDAs, and they're petrified to talk.
What? That's kind of insane, actually, to really think about, right?
So 5 stages. Map the consciousness. Gino Yu, Fenwick, Radin, Martin, Chopra. Understand what it is. Then, model the brain. Yo Shabak, Ed Boyden, Sebastian Sung. Describe it mathematically. Then, preserve the brain. Neck tone, Alcor, cryonics. Keep it after death. Next, you build a new body. George Church, David Hansen, Genie Lab, directed evolution. Create a vessel. Then, the transfer. The mind reader device. Read the mind, clone the body, upload. And at every single stage, the research ran in parallel with this exploitation. The brain scanner was in the same house as the trafficking. The consciousness researcher and the massage therapist used the same vocabulary. The experiment was a scientific term and a word for woman. So we have to question whether he separated the two. And look, you might think this is crazy, you might think this is all nonsense. But here's the thing. This technology is happening right now. Everyone knows Elon is building the brain chip. And it would seem that their excuse is obviously to help the disabled. But listen to what he told shareholders. He thinks uploading a mind into a robot body is less than 20 years away. You think they're gonna tell us the truth? And then there's an EFTA in the archive where someone in Epstein's circle writes, end quote, very intrigued by Neuralink. I wonder if there's a connection. But get this. Remember how I told you to take a note earlier? Just last week, Meta was granted a patent. And the actual patent is for training an AI on everything you've ever posted, every comment, every DM, every voice message, so that it can simulate you after you die. The AI takes over your account. Epstein was funding the research, and now the tech companies are filing the patents. And let's finish off with this document.
I don't know about you, but that's fucking insane. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. I heard somewhere this crazy conspiracy that the Meta platform patented some sort of AI thing where that they can use the AI to collect data and simulate you after you pass away. Is that true?
What's true is that Meta, Facebook's parent company, was granted a patent for an AI system that could simulate a person's social media activity, even if they're inactive or deceased. The idea is that an AI model could analyze a user's past posts, likes, and interactions to continue posting or responding on their behalf. But Meta has publicly stated that they have no plans to implement this feature. So while the patent exists, it doesn't mean that...
While the patent exists, it doesn't mean that they're going to use it after you die. Of course, we know that. Everything we see up in here on here is always allegedly, bro. I believe in Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot is an interdimensional being that walks through portals into our planet, bro, to eat the animals in the forests, and that's why they're able so quickly to disappear. And then you also got to think about the Bigfoot that Snake, the Bigfoot hunter, found that was deceased. And then you just got to think about like the giants and the Nephilim, and it just goes way, way deep when you start really getting into this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? The layers go deep, and to be honest, I say this a bunch, but I don't say it enough, bro. Don't believe everything that you see. Don't believe me, ever. The words that come out of people's mouths can all be fabricated, perfectly structured to sound poetic and beautiful to get you to finally be able to believe whatever it is they're trying to say. Everything I say is all my opinion. I have no idea if any of it's true. You know what I'm saying? I think we're in a video game, dude. I think this whole shit's a simulation, bro. I think that the evidence supporting the flat earth is compelling enough to make me question whether it's flat earth or it's round. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't really know. But the information on both sides is quite compelling. You know what I'm saying? And I'm only feeling like I gotta say this just because I do love my life and I would never harm myself. I've been clean and sober. I have almost 8 years sober. I don't ever anticipate ever using any drugs ever again. Even on my worstest of all worstest days, as I've been sober, is better than my bestest days when I was using. I would never resort to using that ever again to numb out. So I just got to put it out there that like most content creators have to do in this political sphere that we're in, is that it's all allegedly. I just watched, like, all of this information that we just watched just came from a YouTube video. I did pull up and support his sources with web myself, but the narrative regarding all of these connections is for you to decide and for you to do your own research about. Because when you really start to, if you believe everything you see, you're just on the edge of your seat, just thinking that every single day the world's going to end. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, then you're not really living your life. Like here in the present moment, you're just living in fear. And that's how they control you, is through fear. And if whether you're a religious or a spiritual individual, it does say, do not be afraid or fear not 365 times in the Bible, so you could read it at least one time every single day you're alive. That's just a weird connection. But let's finish this out.
Epstein writing about someone who died. Socrates proves the immortality of the soul. I see her soul, very young, full of energy, getting ready to leave. I see people surrounded by their soul. So he believed in the soul. He obviously was spiritual to a certain degree. He believed he could survive the body. And he spent millions of dollars and over a decade.
I love you, baby. Queen Trip finally made it up in the stream. She's had a stressful day. Can we just spam the chat with hearts for Queen Trip? She's a warrior. She goes out into the matrix every day and has to work a real job while I just get to sit here and go down rabbit holes every day. The real flex will be one day when I get to retire my wife. And you just being here, all your support, all your love, all your comments, purchasing merch, sharing my videos, hanging out on the live stream, watching them if you missed the live stream on YouTube, all that stuff. You guys are the ones that are going to help me retire my wife. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just putting that out there. Shout out Queen Trip. She goes to work every single day and she's just so supported more, and just the whole family's just so grateful for her, and we don't tell her enough.
Trying to prove it. Whether he succeeded or not isn't the point. The point is the pipeline existed, the funding existed, the scientists existed, and the test subjects existed. All the documents have EFTA numbers and you can verify them for yourself. Part 1 was what Epstein was building. The genetics, the baby farms, the egg doctor. Part 2 was the secret societies, the occult, and the control system. Part 3 is the consciousness pipeline, mapping it, modeling it, preserving it, and building new bodies for it. But we're not done. There's more in these documents that still has not been shown yet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't...
And we are going to watch that tomorrow. We love you. We love you, Queen Trip. Thank you for just finding time in your busy, busy day to come on up in here, bro. What's up, KJ? KJ, you finally made it over here, dude. Oh, KJ's been following me on X for a while. She finally made it to the stream, dude. That's what's up, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, we're actually at the end of the stream today. It's okay that you're late. I appreciate you just coming up in here. Appreciate that. But yeah, it's kind of insane to really think about all of that. You know what I mean? For real, it's kind of insane. My dog's tripping on upstairs, trying to tell you it's insane. Dude, I'm pretty sure we need another breath work. Do we need another breathing exercise, bro? All right, KJ. Thank you. I appreciate you. But we're gonna do a breath work exercise because today's stream could have possibly been very heavy for people who didn't know this information. I'd already watched this, so it's not as deep and gut punching as it was the first time I watched this YouTube video. But it could have blown some people's minds today. This shit's quite insane. You heard me? Do we need breathing or what? I think I don't know if I can do breathing. Actually, I think there might be maintenance people here today. My dryer's broken. I think maintenance is here. All right, you guys. Yeah, my kids are opening the door. I love you guys so much. I will see all of you guys tomorrow at 12 to 12:30 Mountain Standard Time. I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you have a blessed day. And if nobody's told you today, I love you. Peace out.